Okay, folks, so I got the go ahead from Facebook that we are live. So, welcome everyone. We have a special holiday edition of the Ripple Effect today with Noosha Kahali, a good friend and colleague of both Erica and I. Before we get to Noosha, I just wanted to check in with my esteemed co host, Erica Gimble. How are you today, Erica?
Hi, happy to be with you. Happy going towards the light. Happy solstice.
Great, thank you. Um, I know we both know Nusha, and she actually works in your areas of expertise a lot more than mine per se. But I don't know if you mind introducing how you know Nusha, and if you want to take it from here, Erica.
Hi there, Carrie Ann. So yes, I'm happy to be with you both. And Noosha is our special guest today, Noosha Kahali, licensed acupuncturist here in Oakland. And yes, I'm Erica Gimble. I'm a psychotherapist and health professional, also in Oakland. And Noosha, we're so excited to have you on here today, and we get to interview you. So tell us, if we can just get right into it, tell us about your story and your professional background. Tell everyone who is tuning in on the ripple effect.
Great. Thank you so much for that, both Erica and David. I'm so grateful to be here today. Thank you for having me. So my name is Noosha Kahali. I am a first generation Iranian American that was raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. I am a licensed acupuncturist. I'm also working on my doctorate in Chinese medicine. And I was first introduced to Chinese medicine when I was about 18 years old. My mother was receiving treatments to help with side effects of her chemotherapy treatments, and she was battling ovarian cancer at the time. And I immediately fell in love with what I saw, the beauty and the ease of the treatments, seeing the walls of herbs in my acupuncturist office, and not to mention the powerful healing that it provided for me personally during a time of extreme emotional and physical stress. However, since becoming a Chinese medicine practitioner was not a very linear path, it took me quite a while to get to come to it and to pursue it in the way that I have been now. Feel very blessed that I've not only chosen a profession and path that I love and believe in, but it has also chosen me. So really, really grateful.
Great. I love hearing about your story with why and how this is like maybe an old and tired question, but how are you adapting to COVID-19 in your work and your personal life?
No,
How's
it's not tied at all. I think that's actually a really good question. So the clinic that I practice in was closed for a couple months when the initial shutdowns happened in March 2020. We opened again in June 2020 and have continued to be able to provide service and care to patients while strictly following CDC guidelines. Patients are very appreciative that we're open and continuing to provide care. Personally, I'm really grateful for this pause that has given me to be retrospective and to create some change in my life in the ways that I've always been looking to create. I think one of the beauties of human beings is that we are adaptable creatures, right? We have the ability to create new ways of being all the time. And for instance, I used to be an avid social salsa dancer and, was a member of 3 different gyms, like an avid gym goer. Yet now I go on daily walks and hikes and I work on puzzles, right? So I've adapted.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Exactly right. How are we pivoting? How are we shifting? How are we being creative and creating in this time? I think is so crucial. So thank you. Um, what are just going off these wonderful questions from David, what are Chinese health remedies and why should someone consider them as opposed to more traditional medicine?
That's a great question. I get asked this all the time. So Chinese medicine is a 5,000-year-old medicine, right? So we kind of got to give that lens and perspective. And it's rich in remedies and teachings. And one of the main differences between the way that Chinese medicine, traditional Western medicine kind of behave and approach healing is that Chinese medicine takes a holistic approach to healing the body. So it sees the body as integrated different parts that make up the whole. Western medicine usually focuses on specific parts of the body and separates it from the whole and kind of, you know, focuses more on the separation as opposed to the whole. And that's just kind of the mechanism of how they both work. Each has a place and each is very important. And yet Chinese medicine, because it focuses on the whole and it's holistic, it is intended to be a preventative medicine. So it supports the body in the ways that it's already working to create balance for you. You know, our bodies are very resilient. They are able to create, they work for us all the time, round the clock. You know, we don't tell our heart to pump blood, it does it automatically. There's so many things that it does automatically to either keep us safe, to get all the production, you know, red blood cell production, all the processes in the body to be going smoothly. So the body's working for us all the time. And sometimes it might need some support. So that's kind of where Chinese medicine comes in. And the remedies include diet and nutrition, movement exercises, you know, apart from any kind of physical exercise, also Tai Chi and Qigong, medicinal herbs, massage, acupuncture treatments, obviously. And regular acupuncture treatments have been proven to help reduce stress, strengthen the immune system, improve sleep, increase circulation, and reduce pain. So it basically brings you back to your true self, to what your body is already doing. It just enhances that awareness and reconnects the mind and body, and it's really powerful in that way. So I think the main thing to kind of keep in mind that it takes the entire body into consideration.
Yes, yes. I have had 2 sessions with Noosha, and the second one was right after, maybe it was a month, maybe not even a month after my ankle break. I had in April, I had an ankle, a broken ankle, like a hairline fracture, and I had to wear a boot. And Noosha was amazing to support my healing processes. I could feel the parenchymal healing processes happen with your work. And what's so great about Noosha is she incorporates all that she knows from all the modalities to give me the best session possible. And I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And, you know, if I can add a question before we go to David, or a question or two, it's like, have you at your offices, how do you keep people safe? Just let everyone know, you know, how it's going. Are you taking people's temperature? And just how it's going with all that? Because I think people are really concerned about staying safe, especially with immuno challenges right now. So we want to let everyone know how you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So we are following all CDC guidelines. Everybody gets their temperature checked. We also do a mandatory screening before you come into the clinic, about 24 hours before your appointment. The practitioners are wearing double masks, face shields. Sometimes we'll wear gloves as well. We have a really great cleaning system. The rooms are aired out at least 10 minutes in between patients. No one is staying in the waiting room. So there's no one else sees any other patient. You just see the practitioner, and that's all the only person you see in the clinic. And let me see, like, there's just so many other things. So we're definitely adhering very strictly to it. And it's very important for all of us to be safe, because we want to be able to continue to provide services and care during this time. And luckily we have all these guidelines that are available to us, and then that we are using. And we also have the patients wear masks as well. So yeah, we definitely take it seriously. I think it's important. And you know, constantly we've like padded the time, where there's a time where I go around and I clean all the doorknobs, I clean the restroom, I clean everything that's been touched, all the surfaces. We do it multiple times per day, in between shifts, in between patients, and that's also really important. So anytime you come in, you know that you're in a safe and secure environment.
And up until now, you've kept everyone safe. Like, no one's gotten COVID that you know of, and that's really crucial. So what is the best way for people to book with you, to set up an appointment?
Okay, great. That's a great question. So I am practicing in a clinic in Oakland, and you're welcome to. The best way is probably just to message me, since we're on Facebook right now. If you message me through Facebook, I can direct you to the right place to do so. You can email me as well, and I can provide that information in the comments after we're done. And just make sure that I can give you the best service possible. And if you have any further questions, obviously, always welcome to reach out to me.
Great. Yes, that's so important. And we want people to get a hold of you. So we want people to ask questions in the chat. We want our viewers to let us know what you enjoyed about this and what inspired you and what your steps are for your ripple effects in your life for your health. So thank you, Noosha.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Erica. I appreciate your testimonial. I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today.
Yeah, and I love being on the health team with you. That's originally David asked that question. I didn't get to say we're in the same network called the Abundant Referral Circle, a BNI chapter here in the Bay Area. So all three of us are in that same group of people, and we'd love for you to ask us about that and come visit us, visit our chapter if you're looking to grow your business. So yeah, David, you have questions for next questions?
Yeah. First, I did have a special request from Carrie actually here who has some snow she wants to show you guys. We're coming to you live from Incline Village, Nevada. So she wanted to show that we have some snow.
What?
I'm eating it. I'm eating it.
Is it cold, Carrie? Is it cold? Oh, that's so sweet.
No.
We thought that might be a nice interlude. And I just had a couple comments. I mean, I've really been interested in kind of alternative medicine, so to speak, because I feel like there are some glaring gaps. And if you just stick with traditional medicine, for example, prevention and health, you don't really see a whole lot about kind of prevention and more kind of holistic remedies from kind of the healthcare establishment, so to speak. And I really think the more I've learned about Chinese medicine from you, Noosha, and even Erica as a, does a bunch of workshops and things on, you've done things on Chinese medicine. Here, Carrie. The more I've really found that it's so instructive. But I'm going to get to my question here, otherwise Carrie's going to ask it for me. What are some healthy considerations that you've seen during COVID-19 in terms of, since COVID-19 started, we see a whole slew of different things going on in the world. And I just feel like there might be some health consequences out there that are maybe hidden from public view. I know we've seen certain populations I feel like are more hard hit, definitely the older populations, but also I think teenagers as well with mental health. So I just want to get your thoughts on that aspect.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing to talk about. I can tell you my perspective of what I've been seeing and treating and what's been coming in at the clinic. So I think, first of all, many people were forced to work from home, right, during the pandemic, and ergonomically they were probably not set up at home. They were using, their dining room chair or whatever they had to sit all day and, be on Zooms or to do work. And what I've noticed is a lot of people are coming in with low back, shoulder, or neck pain because they're not as ergonomically set up as they might be if they were in a commercial real estate office building, right? I'm also seeing, and you mentioned this with teenagers, I'm seeing this just across the board, where there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear in the air. There's a fear of the unknown. If you notice, there's been a lot of shifts happening every day. It seems like there's something else. There's been some political things, some racial, social unrest, and I think a lot of those things are also kind of being captured. People are holding on to a lot of this, and especially since you've also had some sudden drastic change to the way you live your life, right? Not able to be as social and maybe not able to go to the gym, not able to do a lot of the activities that you may have found, you used for stress relief, right? So I'm seeing a lot more mental health issues, such as higher stress levels, anxiety, depression. I mentioned the fear. And I think it's really important to recognize that, yes, we are kind of in this shift, right? That it was drastic, it was quick. We had, it kind of was always it hit all of us on a global level. It's affected all of us on different levels. And I think it's also important, I mentioned this earlier, about how we're very resilient as human beings, and that it's important time to kind of create new habits, right? There's this Chinese saying that I'm going to butcher kind of the exact lingo of it, but it's basically a crisis. When something like a crisis happens, there's either going to be chaos or there's going to be opportunity, right? There's two ways we can look at it. So opportunity is a chance to create new habits. So maybe you're going to spend more time in nature. Maybe you're going to go on walks more, drink more water. Since you're working from home, you're going to make better meals, cook for yourself more, make more balanced, nutrient dense meals. And I also find that meditation and breathing practices are very useful in combating the stress and calming the mind. I like to show a couple points that that are really helpful to just calming the mind and any kind of mental anguish. If you're feeling really stressed, really fearful in the moment, there are 3 points here on the wrist, kind of on both sides of the wrist and the middle. So you can hold these points. You can just hold the wrist. You can hold both, alternating, and just hold it and breathe for a couple moments. And that really kind of helps settle you in any kind of anxiety that's happening in the moment. And it's the incremental things that we do that creates the overall changes that we're looking for. So, we have a lot of tools at our disposal. Obviously, I have a lot of tools in my toolkit in Chinese medicine, but there's also simple things that you can be doing from home. Like I just showed just that example, or creating new habits.
Yes.
Excellent.
I love what you just shared, Noosha. I'm butting in now. Yes, the list is long and wide, and how creative can you get? And when people need support, there's so many different types of health professionals to get extra support from. And yeah, good.
Erica, you muted yourself. Okay. I was just going to add here that, we really emphasize this kind of holistic view of health on the ripple effect. And a lot of that comes from the influence of Erica and, really you got to look at the whole person, and a lot of it, we have the kind of healing powers within ourselves if we're able to tap into those. And I think that a lot of people kind of, if you're, you get kind of lost and you don't really see the connection between like the spiritual, the physical, and the mental health. And we really love kind of looking at all those themes on this show. And I just wanted to ask you what your secret is to staying mentally, physically, and spiritually healthy during these times.
All right. I love that question. Yeah, because it's also really important to practice what you preach, right? And it's such an important time. And I think I have kind of been able to create different habits because things have changed, things have shifted. And one thing I want to say, I'm gonna use a quote. Albert Einstein once said that everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Like everything we touch has energy, if we're aware of it or not. Everything that's in our surrounding, everything is energy. And if you were to match the frequency of that reality with what you want, and you cannot help but get that reality if you match the frequency to whatever that energy is that is around you. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics, right? So this is the science of it all. I think that's an important thing to think about, because recognizing that everything around us is energy also implies, and we talk a lot about this in Chinese medicine, we say that like energy is kind of similar to qi, even though that's not the exact definition. It's more of like a verified form of matter. We could talk about this all day about it, about the difference between that. But the intention is that qi is something, it's movement, right? Our bodies are moving all the time. All of our cell processes, everything that's going on in the body is a form of movement. When you're on the table with acupuncture needles, your body those needles are talking to you. There's movement happening. You might be aware, you might feel sensations, tingling, twitches, but that's movement that's happening. So our bodies were always intended and meant to move. So whatever that movement might be, if it's going on a walk, if it's, whatever kind of sport or exercise that you like to do. So I say this to say that, apart from spending more time in nature, I've been really enjoying being outdoors more and not necessarily being in a gym. Still being physically active. Hikes are so amazing because you're like, oh, I'm going to get to the top of this summit, and then you get rewarded with this amazing view. It's such a enriching experience. Also, maintaining hydration, that's super important for ourselves, where our bodies are at least 70% water. eating nutrient dense food. So it's great to be able to cook for myself almost all the time now and really know what's in my food and kind of create this ritual around the food that I prepare for myself. I also am doing a lot more meditation, like early morning. I'm kind of an early bird. I like getting up at 5:30 or 6, and that quiet where like the rest of the world like around us isn't quite awake yet is such a beautiful moment of peace and quiet where you can really meditate and like connect with yourself, connect with the universe, connect with source, whatever you want to call it. I also do use a lot of sound and crystal healing. That's something I've been getting into with chakras. It's actually something I do have the capacity to offer remote healing sessions. So if anyone's interested in that, you're welcome to reach out to me. I've also begun to use like frequency therapy because in the same way that sound therapy works, and if everything around us is energy, we need to match our frequency and our vibration to what's around us. And the more we do that, the better we are mentally, physically, and emotionally. And so again, if you'd like more information about that, please message me. I would be happy to share. But those are kind of the things that I'm doing. I think it's a great time to reflect and create new habits and really connect with all that's important to you, your relationships. I know we're not able to see and hug each other, but we're still able to connect via Zoom. We can still pick up the phone and talk to each other. So still really important to remain connected to not only my environment, but as a being in this earth, on this earth.
Well put, Noosha. And I mean, you and Erica probably know more about health and all the different aspects than anybody else I know. So I appreciate everything you guys have taught me. And I just love how you explain these things and, such big picture things too. And, it really makes sense the more you learn about it. And I just would encourage people to kind of reach out to at least make that initial, just go approach it with an open mind and see what it can do for you. Because it's amazing what some of these, real innovative therapies and techniques can do. And I've only just scratched the surface. So Erica, do you have any closing remarks? Otherwise, I think we do have a few more minutes if you have another question you want to follow up with.
Yeah. So this idea of, for the first timer coming in for acupuncture, not to be afraid of the needles, not to be afraid of what's going to happen. I don't like, all those notions of fear. How do you massage them? Do you have the Japanese needles? You want to say anything about that? That'd be great.
That's a great question. I actually love working with first-time acupuncture patients. Those are one of my favorite people to work with. So I have really good bedside manner. So everything and anything I'm going to do to you, you're going to know ahead of time. I'm going to be like, okay, now I'm doing this. Now we're going to do this. How does this feel? Are you comfortable? So there is a way. I mean, I also connect patients with their breath if they're really kind of concerned initially. And I'm not advertising acupuncture can be painful, but it could also not be painful. A lot of the times it's not so much the needle, because depending on your technique, you may not feel the needle, but it's more the sensation. I've noticed people are more, if I'm working on your shoulder and you feel it down your leg, you're like, what's going on here? Like, that's really kind of scary to me, but that's exactly what it's doing. It's reminding you that your body is connected, right? There's an awareness to it. So I'm very gentle. Again, I think it's really important that if you're trying something for the first time, whoever is doing that method with you is being very clear about what they're doing, when they're doing it, checking in frequently. And, we use a lot of heat, pillows, everything is really comfortable, right? You're in a very safe, comfortable environment. And I check in often. And I always joke that, it's not that I didn't hear what you said the first time. It's just because every couple minutes it could shift. Maybe you were fine initially, but maybe you're having really bad anxiety about all of this right now, right? So it's super important to check into that. And I love engaging people about, it's all about creating that rapport too, because sometimes I may not be the best fit for someone and vice versa. And it's important for you to establish that when you're establishing care, that, that you really resonate with that practitioner. And otherwise there's plenty of other people that would, I have access to a huge network of people that I can recommend you to. But again, it's super important that I check in and you're aware of all of the things that are happening, especially if you're trying something new, right? Like, that's the least I can do, right? And making sure that you feel comfortable and supported.
Great. I love it. I want as many people as possible to experience acupuncture, and especially acupuncture with you, Noosha. I think your bedside manner is amazing, and I felt very comfortable. I felt safe. I was curious about the different protocols you were using. What was that thing that you were doing that was getting the energy
Yes,
going? What was that
right.
called?
The wire brush, I use a lot of different massage tools and things too. Yeah, like we gotta, we use massage. I have a Chinese massage background, so I incorporate a lot of body work with the treatments as well. And I find that that's actually really helpful for people to get comfortable with, some of the needling. So palpation and body work is very much part of the treatment.
Great. And one more question, if I can, and then David, I'll let you wrap it up. This is a more advanced question, is what does it mean to you to be going for this PhD, a doctorate, doctorate in what will that mean? What else are you putting inside your brain right now? I know you've been working so hard on this degree. What will that mean to you being complete as
Yeah.
a doctor of?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking me that, Erica. So the doctorate is in advanced orthopedics and classical Chinese herbalism. And I think David mentioned earlier that he feels like he's just scratched the surface. Like I feel like I've just scratched the surface. Like and I've been studying this for almost 10 years now, right? And that's kind of the beauty of this profession that you're never going to stop learning. You're going to always be learning. And I'm looking forward to a lot of the other doors that will open for me personally and professionally. And I think, it'll allow me to further my reach in many different ways, apart from continuing to enhance my skill. It's such a great thing to have like a cohort, being with other professionals and having colleagues that you work with and refer to. That's a really important aspect of it. But I just see it as another way to open more doors. And I will, I'm definitely going to continue learning even after that doctorate program. There's always going to be something else I want to learn, right? It's always like, okay, I have to manage how much I learn at one certain time, because it's always so interesting, right? So yeah, I'm just excited for the other things that will bring me in the near future.
Yeah, love it. Lifelong learners, us health professionals, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Okay,
Well,
David, wrap
thanks,
us up.
guys. Yeah, I just had a quick closing comment here. And, I really feel like we're lucky to be in the East Bay area, which is really, I feel like, a capital of health in, our kind of sphere of the world. So Berkeley, Oakland, and, I think there's really kind of, Kaiser has such a presence in Oakland. So you have more kind of traditional facilities, but there's also a huge array on so-called Pill Hill of, more holistic providers. Okay, Carrie, I'm almost done. And then, so they really, I think I just encourage folks to kind of explore out there everything that's there, all kinds of options, be it Chinese medicine, meditation, a lot of these things that Noosha talked about. And there's just a long list of great providers out there. Noosha and Erica probably know, a large percentage of them in our area, or, a good sampling. So with that, I'll leave it there. And thanks, guys, for the great discussion. We'll talk soon.
Something. I need to tell them something.
All right. Thank you